A house is not a home, it's a cell with a welcome mat. I know that sounds insane. Everyone says, buy a house. Your parents said it. Your coworker said it. The bank definitely said it. But what if they're all wrong? What if the biggest asset in America is actually a trap? I found out the hard way, not through my own capture, through someone else's near miss. Let me tell you about a man I'll call Specialist B. 3 months ago, he sat across from me at a diner, a Zillow listing glowing on his phone like a flare in the dark. 4 bedrooms, new kitchen, a yard big enough to throw a football, listed at $415,000. He looked me in the eye and said, I have to get in before prices go higher. That sentence, I have to, is a phrase no operative should ever use. It means the enemy has already planted the fear. It means FOMO has breached the perimeter. And in the field of personal finance, FOMO doesn't just wound you. It buries you in a 30-year foxhole filled with compound interest and hidden fees. Now, I should give you the context of the battlefield. The average mortgage interest rate on a 30-year mortgage is 6.37% as of March 2026, according to Zillow. That sounds like a number. Let me translate it into something you can feel. At a rate of around 6.4% on a 30-year mortgage where you borrow $300,000, you pay roughly $377,000 in interest over the life of the loan. Read that again. You borrow $300,000. You hand back almost $680,000. That isn't a financial product. That is a ransom note. And the walls of that prison cell, they're getting more expensive to build. In February 2026, US home prices were up 0.9% compared to last year, selling for a median price of over $429,000. Meanwhile, mortgage interest rates increased by approximately half a percentage point from February, even though the Federal Reserve didn't raise rates. Geopolitical tensions and rising unemployment contributed to the spike. Specialist B didn't know any of this. He only knew one thing: everybody at his job had bought a house. And the quiet anxiety of being the last one renting was eating him alive. That anxiety, that invisible weight, is what I call the debt backpack. You can't see it, but it sits on your shoulders every time someone at a barbecue asks, "So, are you still renting?" And before you know it, you're signing 30 years of your life away to escape 5 seconds of social discomfort. I told Specialist B, give me 48 hours. Before you sign anything, let me decrypt the real numbers. If the math still says buy, I'll drive you to the closing myself. He agreed. The clock started. Here's what Specialist B wanted. The property, $415,000. 4 walls, a roof, and the American dream, prepackaged and ready to consume. Here's what the homeownership industrial complex wasn't telling him. I call them the complex, the interlocking network of lenders, agents, insurers, and tax assessors who all profit the moment you sign. Individually, they seem helpful. Together, they form a surveillance system designed to extract wealth from you for decades, one hidden camera at a time. Let me show you how the surveillance cameras work. The monthly burn rate, what they show you versus what you actually pay. Specialist B's lender quoted him a monthly payment of approximately $2,350, principal and interest on a $373,000 loan, assuming he could scrape together a 10% down payment. That's close to what I pay in rent, he told me, close. But close in finance is the distance between a flesh wound and a fatal one. Because that $2,350 was only the ammunition. It didn't include the weight of the iron you carry while firing. Let me load the full calculation onto the table. Principal and interest, $2,340. Property tax, $380. Homeowners insurance, $185. PMI, $195. Maintenance reserve, $346. HOA or miscellaneous fees, $75. Total monthly burn rate, $3,521. In 2026, the average annual cost of home maintenance has risen to $10,867 per year. That's the maintenance line. But the water heater that dies in January, the roof that leaks in March, the HVAC unit that surrenders in August. When you rent, your landlord pays for the new water heater. When you buy, you do. Now look at the renter's side of the ledger. Specialist B's current rent, $2,000 a month, flat. Utilities separate, just like a homeowner. No surprise repair bills, no PMI, no property tax reassessments. The gap, $1,521 per month. That's not a rounding error. That's $18,252 a year in additional cash burn for the privilege of painting your own walls and mowing your own lawn. I slid the paper across the table. Specialist B stared at it. He didn't speak for a full 30 seconds. Then he said, "But at least I'd be building equity." And that is where the deepest part of the deception lives. Building equity, the two most dangerous words in middle-class America. Here's the classified truth about a 6.4% mortgage. In year one of Specialist B's monthly principal and interest payment, approximately $1,990 goes straight to interest. That's money incinerated, gone. Not a single cent of it builds anything. It's kindling fed into the furnace of the lending institution. Only about $350 per month actually reduces the loan balance in year one. So here's the real equity report card after 12 months of home ownership. The homeowner pays over $42,000 to gain just $4,200 in true equity. The renter pays $24,000, gains zero equity, but retains over $18,000 in cash savings. Net position advantage. The renter wins by over $14,000. But wait, doesn't the house appreciate? Maybe. The national median home price remained unchanged at $360,000 between the fourth quarter of 2025 and the first quarter of 2026. Flat. Zero movement. And in the markets that did move, home prices continue to rise in only 61% of counties, with affordability remaining below historical norms in 97% of markets. So appreciation is not guaranteed, but the $3,500 monthly burn. That bill arrives with absolute certainty, every single month, for 360 months. Now here's the move that changed everything for Specialist B. I told him, take that $1,521 monthly difference, invest it. A conservative index fund averaging 7% annually, $18,000 invested a year. After 5 years, approximately $109,000. After 10 years, approximately $264,000. That's not a fantasy, that's math. Cold, surgical, apolitical math. Meanwhile, the homeowner's equity after 10 years nets roughly $80,000 to $120,000, depending on the market. And to access that equity, you either take on more debt, or you sell the property and pay 5 to 6% in commissions and fees. The homeowner's wealth is locked inside the cell. To retrieve it, you have to break down the walls and pay a fee for the privilege. The renter's wealth, it's liquid, mobile, deployable. It's high-octane fuel in the tank of a stealth vehicle that can accelerate in any direction at any time. I showed Specialist B one more number, the number that sealed it. Renting is cheaper than owning a home in all 100 of the largest U.S. metro areas. Homeowners with a mortgage now pay around 37% more per month than renters. Every single major metro. In 22 of those cities, owning costs at least 50% more each month than renting. The trap isn't subtle, it's systemic, and it has a name. I call it the homeownership industrial complex. 46 hours into our 48-hour window, Specialist B called me. He didn't sound defeated, he sounded awake. I almost walked into a prison cell, he said, and thanked the warden for the key. That's the moment I live for, the self-revelation. The instant when the captured asset identity dissolves and the elite operative emerges. See, Specialist B had been carrying something heavier than a mortgage. He'd been carrying a belief system installed in childhood and reinforced at every holiday dinner, every office conversation, every Instagram post of someone holding keys in front of a new front door. Renting is throwing money away. Let me dismantle that for you right now. When you pay rent, you are purchasing the single most valuable tactical asset in an unstable economy: optionality. Optionality means if your company moves headquarters, you move. No transaction cost, no waiting 90 days, no begging a buyer to match your price. Optionality means if a better opportunity emerges in another city, you are 30 days away from deploying. The homeowner, they are chained to a latitude and longitude by hundreds of thousands of dollars in illiquid equity. Optionality means if the economy contracts, and with rising oil prices and inflation showing no signs of slowing, the renter's monthly exposure is $2,000. The homeowner's is $3,500. When the squeeze comes, who survives? The one carrying the lighter pack. Specialist B understood this now, not as theory, as felt truth. He looked at me and said something I'll never forget. I was about to trade real freedom for a feeling of freedom. That's the deepest trap of all. The house feels like security. It looks like success. But underneath the granite countertops, it's a 30-year contract that bets your financial future on a single, illiquid, geographically fixed asset in an economy that rewards mobility, speed, and adaptability above all else. Here's what Specialist B did with his 48 hours of clarity. 1. He kept his rental, same neighborhood, same commute. 2. He took the $41,000 he'd saved and deployed it into a diversified portfolio. That money now works for him, not for a mortgage servicer. 3. He set up an automatic monthly transfer of $1,500 into that same account. Every month, automatic, invisible. 4. He gave himself a new timeline. Instead of I need to buy before prices go up, it's I will buy if and when the math makes sense for my life. When rates are lower, when I'm settled, when my equity position from investing gives me leverage to negotiate from strength, not desperation. This is what I call the tactical mobility protocol. It's not anti-home ownership. It's anti-bad timing. It's anti-panic buying. It's the understanding that the most powerful position in any market isn't the one with the biggest asset. It's the one with the most options. Look, I'm not here to tell you never to buy a house. If you plan to stay 5+ years, buying beats renting in 90% of US markets over the long run. But right now, in this environment, with the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage averaging 6.38% and rising oil prices fueling inflation, the smartest play is the one that preserves your liquidity, maximizes your optionality, and keeps your monthly burn rate low enough to invest the difference. Right now, the stealth vehicle beats the prison cell. Specialist B is doing well. His portfolio is growing. His rent hasn't changed. His stress level dropped the moment he realized that not buying wasn't failure, it was strategy. I saved him from a massive monthly burn rate. But here's the thing, I didn't save him from the house. I saved him from the story about the house. The story that says renting is for losers. The story that says homeownership is the only path to wealth. That story is the most expensive piece of fiction in America. And now you know the math behind it. What you do next, that's your operation.